Multitasking. We all do it. But what exactly is it? Well, in simple terms, multitasking is the simultaneous execution of more than one program or task by a single user. It's the act of juggling multiple tasks at once, managing and switching between them, all in an effort to be more productive. Now, this concept of multitasking is not new. It's been part of our lives since time immemorial. From the ancient hunter-gatherers who had to keep an eye on their prey while also watching out for predators, to the modern-day professional balancing a phone call, an email, and a presentation all at the same time. The environment around us might have changed, but our instinct to multitask remains. Generally, multitasking can be broken down into two types: sequential and concurrent. Let's explore the difference between the two. Sequential multitasking is when you switch between tasks. For instance, you might be working on a report, then take a break to answer a phone call, and then return to the report. You're not doing these tasks simultaneously, but rather, you're shifting your focus from one task to another. On the other hand, concurrent multitasking is when you perform multiple tasks at the same time. This could be as simple as browsing the web while listening to a podcast, or as complex as typing an email while participating in a conference call. While it might seem more productive, concurrent multitasking often requires more mental effort as our brains have to constantly switch gears to keep up with the demands of different tasks. So, now we know what multitasking is. It's this ability to juggle multiple tasks at once, either sequentially or concurrently. But here's the real question. Is it really as efficient as we think? Or are there hidden costs to this practice that we're not aware of? In the next section, we'll delve into the myth of multitasking efficiency and uncover the truth behind this commonly adopted practice. So, stick around as we navigate the intricate world of multitasking and its impact on our lives. You may believe that multitasking increases efficiency, but is that really the case? A common misconception is that juggling multiple tasks simultaneously is a surefire way to get more done in less time. We often wear our ability to multitask like a badge of honor, believing it to be a hallmark of efficiency and productivity. But research tells us a different story. Picture this. You're writing an email while also on a conference call. You may think you're killing two birds with one stone, but in reality your brain isn't doing both tasks at once. Instead, it's rapidly switching between tasks, a process known as task switching. Task switching isn't as smooth or efficient as we'd like to believe. Every time we switch tasks, our brain needs time to refocus and reorient itself, which takes up precious cognitive resources. This is known as the task switching cost. It may seem insignificant when we're talking about seconds, but think about how often we switch tasks throughout the day. Those seconds add up, and before you know it, you've lost a significant chunk of your day and your productivity to task switching. Moreover, task switching can lead to more mistakes. When we're dividing our attention between tasks, we're not giving any one task the focus it deserves. This lack of attention can lead to errors and oversights, which can cost more time and effort to correct later. What's more, multitasking can lead to a decrease in overall cognitive performance. When we're constantly switching between tasks, we're taxing our brain's executive functions, which can lead to mental fatigue and a decrease in overall cognitive performance. So, it seems the myth of multitasking efficiency is just that, a myth. While it might feel like you're being productive, the reality is that multitasking can lead to decreased productivity, greater cognitive cost, and more errors. It turns out multitasking might not be the productivity booster we thought it was. Ever felt overwhelmed while juggling multiple tasks at once? It's not just you. Welcome to Scene 3, where we delve into the impact of multitasking on our mental health. The human brain is an incredible machine, but even it has its limits. When we try to stretch these limits by doing several tasks at once, we're not doing ourselves any favors. Think about it. When you're constantly switching between tasks, your mind is in a continuous state of alertness. This can lead to a surge in stress hormones, such as cortisol, that can leave you feeling anxious and on edge. Over time, this heightened state of anxiety can lead to more serious mental health concerns like depression. In fact, a research study from the University of California, Irvine, found that people who multitask with multiple media types, such as a computer and a television, report higher levels of stress and depression than those who don't. This shows that multitasking can be more than just a productivity killer, it can be a happiness killer too. In the workplace, this translates into burnout, a state of chronic physical and emotional exhaustion, often accompanied by feelings of cynicism and detachment from work. Burnout is a serious issue that can lead to decreased productivity and lower job satisfaction. It's a downward spiral that begins with the seemingly harmless act of multitasking. Moreover, the mental exhaustion that comes from multitasking can decrease our capacity for creative and innovative thinking. When we're always in high gear, there's no room for the mind to wander, to explore different ideas, or to make connections between seemingly unrelated concepts. Multitasking, it seems, stunts our ability to think outside the box. So if you've been feeling stressed out, anxious, or just plain burnt out, it might be time to take a look at your multitasking habits. Are you trying to do too much at once? If so, it might be time to slow down, focus on one task at a time, and give your brain the break it needs. Clearly, multitasking can take a toll on our mental well-being. Quality over quantity, right? But can we maintain quality while multitasking? Now let's talk about the quality of work when multitasking is involved. We all know that producing high-quality work requires focus, attention to detail, and a certain level of dedication. But when we're juggling multiple tasks at once, it's challenging to give our whole attention to any single one of them. Imagine trying to write an important email while also conducting a conference call. Your attention is divided between crafting a coherent message and listening to what's being discussed in the meeting. As a result, you might find yourself making typos or missing important points in the conversation. This is because our brains aren't wired to handle tasks that require the same cognitive resources simultaneously. In fact, research shows that multitasking can lead to a 40% drop in productivity and a 10% decrease in IQ. It's not just about the time wasted switching between tasks, but also the errors that occur when we try to do too many things at once. Errors are more likely to occur when we multitask because our attention is fragmented. Each task we undertake requires a certain cognitive load. When we pile on multiple tasks, our cognitive load increases, and our brain struggles to process all the information efficiently. The result? More mistakes, less accuracy, and a drop in the overall quality of our work. Moreover, multitasking doesn't give us the satisfaction of doing a job well done. Instead, it often leaves us feeling stressed and overwhelmed, with a pile of mediocre work to show for our efforts. So, if you pride yourself on delivering high-quality work, it might be time to reconsider multitasking. Instead, consider focusing on one task at a time, giving it your undivided attention. This approach not only minimizes errors but also allows for deeper thinking, innovation, and creativity, all of which contribute to higher quality outcomes. When we multitask, it seems our work quality might suffer. So, the next time you're tempted to juggle multiple tasks at once, remember, quality often trumps quantity, and sometimes, in order to do better, we need to do less. Multitasking doesn't just affect our minds, it can also take a toll on our bodies. Let's take a moment to delve into the physical effects of multitasking and how it can impact our overall health. When we juggle multiple tasks at once, it's like running a marathon in our minds. Our bodies respond accordingly, experiencing a surge in adrenaline, which in turn increases our heart rate and blood pressure. It's our body's way of preparing us for what it perceives as a stressful situation. And while short-term stress can be beneficial in certain situations, chronic stress is a different story altogether. Chronically high levels of stress hormones like cortisol can lead to a plethora of health issues. These include heart disease, diabetes, and a weakened immune system. It can even speed up the aging process. And guess what? Multitasking is a perfect recipe for chronic stress. Moreover, when we're constantly multitasking, our bodies don't get the chance to relax and recuperate. This can lead to fatigue, burnout, and even physical pain. Ever experienced a tension headache after a day of juggling multiple tasks? That's your body telling you it's time to slow down. Additionally, research has shown that multitasking can impact our sleep. The constant state of hyper-alertness that comes from managing multiple tasks can make it difficult for us to wind down and get a good night's sleep. And we all know how detrimental lack of sleep can be to our physical health. But here's the kicker. The physical toll of multitasking doesn't just affect adults, it also impacts children and teenagers. With the rise of digital devices, young people are multitasking more than ever, and this can have serious implications for their physical health and development. Finally, it's important to remember that the physical toll of multitasking is not a one-size-fits-all scenario. Different people may experience different effects, and the severity can vary, but the bottom line remains the same. Multitasking can have real, tangible effects on our bodies. Clearly, multitasking can have physical consequences. So next time you're tempted to multitask, remember it's not just your productivity that's at stake. it's also your physical health. We've talked about the immediate effects of multitasking, but what about the long-term impact? As we delve further into this topic, it's essential to understand that chronic multitasking can have profound, lasting effects on our brains and overall mental health. Here's the thing. Our brains aren't designed to handle multiple tasks concurrently. Over time, the constant shifting of attention from task to task can lead to cognitive impairment. Cognitive impairment in this context refers to a decrease in the ability to learn, remember, and make decisions. It's akin to placing undue stress on your brain, much like pushing a machine beyond its capacity. Furthermore, chronic multitasking can lead to a decrease in mental resilience. Mental resilience is our ability to bounce back from stressful situations or adversity. When we're constantly juggling tasks, our stress levels rise. Over time, this heightened stress can chip away at our mental resilience, leaving us more susceptible to burnout, anxiety, and depression. And there's more. Research suggests that excessive multitasking can lead to a decrease in gray matter density in the brain, specifically in areas responsible for cognitive control and emotional regulation. Gray matter is the stuff that processes information in the brain, controlling everything from muscle control to sensory perception. A decrease in gray matter density can lead to difficulties in these areas. Also, let's not forget about attention residue. This term refers to the lingering thoughts about a previous task that distract us when we move on to a new task. With chronic multitasking, this residue builds up, leading to decreased focus and productivity in the long run. Finally, chronic multitasking can lead to a decrease in the ability to filter out irrelevant information. This means that as we continue to multitask, our brains become less efficient at focusing on what's important, leading to decreased productivity and effectiveness. So, the long-term effects of multitasking can be quite serious. It's clear that while multitasking may seem like a productivity hack in the short term, the long-term consequences can be detrimental to our cognitive abilities and mental health. After all that, you might be wondering if there's a better way, and there is. Now let's focus on some healthier and more efficient alternatives to multitasking. First up is a concept called time blocking. This is a method where you divide your day into blocks of time, each dedicated to accomplishing a specific task or set of related tasks. This way, instead of juggling multiple tasks at once, you're concentrating on one thing at a time, which can significantly increase your productivity and the quality of your work. Next on the list is single tasking. It's exactly what it sounds like. You focus on one task at a time, giving it your undivided attention. Single tasking allows you to work more deeply and produce higher quality results. Plus, it's a lot less stressful than trying to keep multiple balls in the air. Lastly, we have mindfulness techniques. These are practices that help you stay present and focused on the task at hand. Techniques like meditation, deep breathing, and even simply taking a few moments to ground yourself can help you keep your mind from wandering off to other tasks. However, it's important to remember that these are not one-size-fits-all solutions. What works best for you might not work as well for someone else. It's about finding what fits your work style and your life. Experiment with these techniques, mix them, match them, and see what combination leads to your most productive self. It might take some time and a bit of trial and error to find your rhythm, but the benefits are well worth the effort. You'll not only be more productive, but you'll also feel less stressed, more focused, and overall more satisfied with your work. So the next time you find yourself falling into the multitasking trap, remember these alternatives. They're not just about getting more work done, they're about working smarter, not harder. By embracing these alternatives, we can improve our productivity, work quality, and mental health. So, what have we learned about multitasking? Firstly, we've debunked the myth of multitasking efficiency. Trying to juggle multiple tasks at once can actually drop your IQ by 10 points, akin to missing a night's sleep. We've also delved into how multitasking can negatively impact your mental health, causing stress and reducing focus. We explored the quality of work, highlighting how multitasking often leads to errors and reduced productivity. We learned about the physical toll of multitasking, leading to exhaustion and even burnout. We discussed the long-term effects, including the potential for chronic health issues. Finally, we looked at better alternatives to multitasking, showing that focusing on one task at a time can significantly improve your productivity and well-being. So, next time you're tempted to juggle multiple tasks, remember the downside of multitasking. Remember, when it comes to multitasking, it's often better to do less, but do it well. Thanks for watching Don't Do This Guide. See you in the next video.